Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Girl Stuff podcast. We are joined today by Sean, who some of you might know from a show that just got released on Prime Video. Sean, instead of me kind of doing an intro about who you are, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit more about you?
Sure, yeah. I'm Sean. I play Steven on The Summer I Turned Pretty out on Amazon Prime Video. And man, I wish like there was something I could say about me. It kind of feels like when
Put
you
you
go
on
like
the spot.
to school. Yeah, yeah. Like when you go to camp or something and like they like go around in a circle to introductions. And the whole time when everybody else is going and they're giving their answers, you can only just
Yep.
think of what you're gonna say.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like what.
We
Um,
didn't really give you time to think about what you're going to say either.
No, it's all good. You gotta think on the spot, right?
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'll give you a couple of questions. Let's start with kind of like where are you based off of, and like kind of what's your life looking like now, post a show being released and the world kind of loving it.
Yeah. I I've been trying to like stay off social media and stuff.
Okay, fair. Yeah,
I've been really trying to I appreciate like the fan support so much. Like
yeah,
it's so awesome and
yeah,
people really seem to care and that's all we can ask for. But
yeah.
I'm very much trying to stay away from all that. I'm just trying to,
Love that.
stick to my regular life. Like I'm going to
Yeah,
play volleyball later with my cast members after this, like
nice.
kind of just yeah.
So volleyball is still a very, prominent thing in your life.
Absolutely. We're all like pretty big like sports people, so whenever we get the
Okay.
chance to go,
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you just celebrated a birthday, so happy birthday.
oh,
Yeah.
Um,
thank you.
hope you enjoyed it and had a, yeah, we were just saying you turned 22 on the 22nd in the 2022 year. Like, best birthday you could think of.
Yeah, man, it's like my golden year. It's
Yeah.
funny because David Iacono, who's on the show, he's turning 20 and his birthday was on the 20th, and then Chris Briney, he is turning 24. He turned 24 on the 24th, so it was all three of our like golden years.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And before we kind of get into the fun stuff, I just want to ask, like, how has life been post pandemic, post kind of like getting back into seeing people again and trying to live your life and figure out what's like how to live life in a post pandemic world? How's it been for you and your experience?
Yeah, it's been crazy to say the least. But I mean, like that's not like a singular experience. It's like for
Yeah.
everybody. Um, I think I got extremely lucky, obviously, with getting the show. So I was very, very thankfully working during the pandemic, which I know is more than most people, and I'm very grateful for that. I was
Yeah.
also like still in school, which like sucked. But again, I'm not alone in that. Like that's millions of people went through that. So I've been very kind of blessed during the quarantine years plural.
Amazing.
Um,
Yes, yes, years, yeah. And now you get to play volleyball whenever you want. So
oh, exactly.
awesome. All right. So, like you mentioned, you are Steven on The Summer I Turned Pretty. And personally, one of my favorite characters, actually, I was like, ah, yes, go, Steven, go. Love you. So, before we get into kind of talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty and really digging into your character, we want to play a game with you. So, Melina's actually going to take it from here and we'll explain the game and kind of get you started.
Okay.
Okay. So the game is Who Said It? So I have 12 lines from the show prepared for you.
Oh no.
And I and I need you to tell me who said it.
Okay, I'll try my best. Oh my God. Okay, I'll try my best.
You seem nervous. Are you nervous?
Can I plead the fifth?
I think you'll do great. I think you'll do great.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
if you don't know a line, you can use Hannah and Ella as your joker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the first line is nothing's ever gonna happen if you're alone crying in your room.
That's Taylor. She says that to Belly, like when
Yeah.
Belly's like ready to go out to a party. She doesn't want to go to a party. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the next line is you and I are immovable objects.
Oh, well, that is I don't. Oh, is that Rachel, or is that sorry? Is that Jackie? Is it Susanna or Laurel? I think it's Susanna.
Yes.
Correct.
Ah,
You're
let's
doing
go.
so well.
Okay, the next line is I swore off balls.
That's Jeremiah talking about the debutante ball. Classic.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is I will send everyone in this car your Dramini fanfic.
That's Belly to Steven at the drive-in.
Classic.
So good.
One of the
Okay.
lines that's been like popularized recently.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Was that line scripted or was that improv?
That was scripted, yeah.
Love that.
Okay, the next one is the bitch is here.
Is that Conrad to Belly about the mother-in-law stepmom?
Yeah.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
5 for 5.
Almost.
I can definitely see how I can see the competitive nature, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, the next one is you're hotter than he is.
That's Taylor to Jeremiah.
That's a good
No.
guess, but no.
Oh no! Oh, who is that?
It's Susanna to Laurel.
Oh,
About she's talking to Laurel about
Cleveland.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
saying
yeah. Dang.
I mean,
It's
you're
okay.
still doing good.
You're doing really good, and I have faith for this next one actually.
Thank
so.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
the next one is if you do it again, I'm leaving it on your pillow.
That's Steven. Yeah, that's Steven talking about the hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That was one of my favorites.
Honestly, heard my parents say the same thing. Okay, the next one is if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Ooh. Oh my god. Is this oh, is either Belly or Conrad? No, either wait, I'm trying to read your faces now.
no, it's one of the two. It's definitely one
It's
of
one
the
of the
50-50.
two. Yes.
50-50.
It's Conrad.
two. There
Yes.
we go. Ding ding.
Ooh.
Okay, the next one is I'll always come and get you.
Oh. Is that Laurel?
It's a good guess,
No.
but no.
Taylor?
No.
Closer. You're getting closer.
Who? Not Belly, right?
No. But it was said to Belly.
Yes. Imagine the which part of the show where she's being picked up in the middle of nowhere. She is.
Oh, that's Jeremiah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
dang.
We'll give it to you. You got it. You
Yeah.
got it.
Nah. I don't need the pity points. I don't need the pity.
Okay, the next one is when the sun comes out, the stars disappear.
That's. Nah, man, now I'm second guessing myself. I mean, that's Belly talking about Conrad, right?
Close. Close. It is about Conrad, but it's not Belly who says it.
Oh, you're right. It's Laurel
Yes.
who says it
Yeah.
about Belly about Conrad. Yeah.
Instincts are there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this next one is a sad one. She's not gonna get better, is she?
That's Steven. That's
Aw.
my most emotional line in the show.
Yeah.
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 And the last line is I don't want you to need me.
That's Belly.
Yeah.
I don't want you to need me. I want you to want me.
Yeah.
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 Finish the line. You did so much better than I felt like you thought you were going to do. You killed it.
Amount of
Well-
time I spent studying those scripts, I bet it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, now that we've sort of broken the ice a little bit, I would love to get dive deeper into your character, Steven, as well as just the show itself, a lot of the thought and the process that went behind it. And I kind of want to start off by talking about how, for listeners who may not have read the books, I read the books when I was, I think, like in middle school or something, like 10 plus years ago, a long time ago. But for those of you who may not be familiar with the books, Stephen is not as much of a prevalent character in like the first book as he is in the TV show. And so I was just wondering, like, what was it like to like navigate creating this character that didn't really have as much precedent in the books, and what it was like sort of building off more of like a fresh blank page, and building the character from the ground up like that.
Yeah, I mean that was like the coolest part of it to me was that obviously he was in the books, but not as much as he is in the show, and so there was obviously like a baseline, like a precedent set of who he is. But for the most part, it really felt like I was kind of discovering and creating this character on my own, and Jenny had a big part in that. Jenny and I were both very vocal back and forth about because it was also for her like creating this character for the first time, and she trusted me and left a lot of stuff up to me, which was really really awesome. um, but it's a she was amazing, and it's always kind of been my dream to like originate a role, and that very much felt like it, like I was given such creative liberty.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I felt like that's definitely best of both worlds, where you're like like fans of the books will definitely recognize you and will be excited to see you, but you also just had so much room to play with and so many surprises and new things that you got to bring to the table, like your relationship with Shayla and all those kinds of scenes. And speaking of, you mentioned Jenny Han, which of course gotta give a huge shout out to my queen Jenny Han. Like I'm like, as a Korean American woman myself, like she is like such a huge, like, I mean, inspiration to me. And like I feel like her work really speaks for itself, in that she has really done like really groundbreaking things for Asian representation in media. And so I was just curious, like, what was like your experience working with her, and like what it meant to be able to bring this character to life, because like um, I don't know about you, but like growing up, like seeing like Asian leads in general, but especially Asian leads in a romantic like leads in like in
Mhm.
and in being seen in that light was so rare for me. And so like this show was really a breath of fresh air for me, like Jenny's previous projects were, like with To All the Boys and things like that. So I'm just curious, like what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. Well, she was amazing. I mean, she's just as sweet as she comes off. A pleasure to work with creatively. I think that was also the coolest thing. Like, I got to work with her creatively, and then also like become her friend outside. Like, I helped her learn how to swim. Like, it's like super fun stuff like that. And I mean, she is amazing, and I owe her a lot. I owe her a lot. But I agree with that sentiment that you were talking about, because I know I experienced it myself. I took an introduction to sociology class last semester for my college, and there was that talk of like you don't ever see like, or recently you have been seeing more, but like for most of film and television, you never see like black and Asian love on screen. Like that's not a thing. Like if you are to see like a person of color on screen, it's always previously been a very stereotypical like role. I mean,
Yeah.
and even then it's like breakfast at Tiffany's. What are we doing? But like um, I know for myself, I always looked up to Stephen Yen. Um, I
I love
remember seeing
him.
him. I love him. It's crazy to me because I am Japanese American. Um, so I'm not even Korean American, but I know the biggest thing for myself was that we all kind of share that like Asian American experience. And so seeing his face on The Walking Dead, um, and just to see someone who looked remotely like me, I was like, oh, this is possible. Like this is not a dream. This is not like a crazy fairy tale anymore. This is real. And I really, Lola and I and Jackie and Minnie have talked about this, where it's like the ability to inspire by just the doing is such a powerful tool, and we hope At the very least, like that's what we're able to do. Like that little, little like Korean American girl watching Lola, or that little like Japanese boy watching me on TV can literally just see and be like, oh, like I don't have to cross actor off the things that are possible. Like, it's like something I can do if I want. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate to all those things as well. And just to dive in a little bit deeper into some uh, specific scenes in the show that I would love to break down with you. I mean, we're talking about the Asian American experience, and one scene in the show that like really like struck a chord in me is Steven's scene in the country club where he's working the poker game, and he's like, things are all fun and games, but then all of a sudden he's like slapped across the face with these microaggressions and these statements that these people like make, without even thinking. And like obviously I know that like race is not like a prominent topic in the show, like, and it was intended to be that way, but like I just remember like watching that scene and being like just it really struck a chord in me, because like I have been in Steven's shoes so many times where I'm in a room and I feel safe, I feel comfortable, then kind of out of nowhere, like someone says something or something is thrown out and it just totally catches me off guard. So I was just wondering like what your thought process was, and like the conversations that you and Jenny had, and like bringing that little bit to life, and what your thoughts behind that were.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just want to thank like Jenny because she trusted me with that, and I appreciate it. I know I built up a lot of pressure in my head about that, because obviously there's the whole thing of like, okay, this is a sensitive issue, and I want to do it justice, like I really want to. But then I kind of like took a step back, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but every single Asian American person I've known, or just Asian person in this country, has experienced some sort of like racial injustice attack, whether it's like literally physically or verbally, or like microaggressions on the daily.
Yeah.
I go through it all the time, and most everybody does. And
Yeah.
I think that the idea that like race is not a thing that's brought up in this show like too heavily, but I did appreciate the adding of it, because I think the thing that Jenny tried to make with like cousins is this like dream scenario, it's this perfect dream thing, and I really appreciate the adding of the race issues in there, because it shows that it can happen anywhere. It's like it doesn't matter where or when or during what fantasy you're having. Like it just doesn't matter. And so it was really cool to read on paper and then to put it to life. I had a great director, Erica, help me with that. But it really just came down to like putting that pressure in my head and then really sitting back and be like, yeah, but this has happened to me. Like I don't have to pull from anywhere. I just have to be
Yeah.
truthful to what really is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I watched that scene and I was like, wow, I've been there, and I totally like seeing like Steven go through that. It made me feel, I don't know, it just kind of it almost reassured me in a way that like this is not like a singular experience. This is something that like
Uh,
other people understand, and it's something that hopefully by portraying it on the screen, other people who haven't had that experience can empathize and like understand like what it must be like
yeah.
for people who
I,
look like us to be having to go through that on a daily
oh,
basis.
absolutely. And I know like a thought that crossed my head while we were shooting was that like I know that when stuff like happens to me, everybody thinks they're gonna. I think in my head, I think, oh, when somebody says that, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna stand my ground and all that. And then somebody says it could be like a friend making a just a really racist joke, and you just like I
Yeah.
freeze, I curl up, and I laugh along. Like I don't know what to do. I freeze, and I just hope that kind of by portraying that stuff, that the next generation, when it happens, I hope it never does, but when it happens, that they have the ability to stand up like I never did, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, just like being able to put words to it and being able to like recognize like that is like that experience it can be really helpful to people who have are going through that and have had that happen to them. So I think that you and Jenny did a really really touching job with it,
Thank you.
and I think that there's definitely a lot more room to explore in the future as well,
Yes, yeah.
for
I
sure.
definitely think like the aftermath too of like, how Steven then dealt with it was
Mhm.
just as important to, that scene where you're just sitting in the kitchen and you're like, how was I supposed to handle that, right? Because that's what we don't see, right? Like people make the comments and then they leave, but what happened to the person afterwards? And I think it just kind of looped it in of like your words do matter, right? Even if you don't see it in that moment, they do have an impact. So here's kind of what it looks like, which was just eye opening because again, it doesn't show up in media at all, right? What happens afterwards. So yeah, no, it was a really, really, really well done scene and just notion and wrapping it up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I don't know if you have a similar interpretation to it, Sean, but I felt like that scene as a whole sort of helped illuminate like just deeper things behind Steven's character in general about this sort of insecurity that he feels throughout the first season of like he feels out of place, he feels like lesser than, and the ways that he tries to compensate for that, you know, like the way he tries to like win a ton of money through that poker game, and like the way that he tries to like overcompensate in his relationship with Shayla. Like I don't know, like what if you had a similar interpretation to that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think people don't think about it because I don't think it's highlighted in the show at all. But I know for myself, where I think it starts with like Belly right away. Um, the summer is like supposed to be me and Conrad and Jeremiah, and then this is the first summer that it's not. So immediately that sense of like feeling left out, FOMO, like all that stuff is right there, and then obviously like it's exacerbated by the fact that he's not as well off as everybody else in that town. He's trying to go to Princeton, and he's trying to live this life that he knows is possible, but that he's not there yet. And so it is that constant feeling of being left out and being the person on the outside of the crowd that he's trying so hard to fit in. You know.
Well, there is one other scene that I wanted to touch on because I mean it is kind of a very pivotal scene for you. It is sort of the climax of the show. It happens in the last 20 minutes of the last episode, and it just kind of like I remember watching it and like out of nowhere just like sucker punching me in the gut. And of course I'm talking about the scene where your character and Belly and Laurel are in bed and like crying together, and just oh god, and freaking Funeral by Phoebe Bridgers playing in the background to like rub salt in the wound there.
Yeah.
What was it like filming that scene? I mean, it must have been super intense.
It was the first time I'd ever done something like that on camera, so it was very intense. I give so much credit to the crew that day. We showed up to set, and everybody knew what we were shooting, and they gave us our space. They literally, they came up to us before most of the crew and were here's a room for you guys to prep in. We're not gonna bother you at all, like at all. You guys do your thing, and it really just set this like I'm trying to find the words for it, but it just it felt like a safe space to be able to go there. Um, and I think all three of us felt that in that moment. It was also so easy for myself to go there when I'm acting alongside Lola and Jackie. I mean, they're brilliant. They're absolutely like some of the best actors I've ever worked with. And just to like every take, walk in and see them on the bed and like knowing that's like my mother and my sister, and it's just so they make it so easy. And that whole process in my head could have gone so much worse. It was a blessing that everybody was so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the final product, it really speaks for itself. It was heart-wrenching and just it like hit all the right notes, and I thought that it was just so well done. I guess one other small scene that I want to touch on, just on a much, much more lighthearted note, is
Yeah.
obviously we know you can rock a hairnet, you can rock a dance floor, but apparently you have vocals, sir. There's a scene in your bathroom with Jeremiah, and you guys are like, where did that scene come from? Like, was that like something that you knew that you would have to do, where they were like, oh, just go ahead and like bust one out?
Well, they were like, I mean, well, thank you. If you think I can sing, wait till y'all hear Lola.
Oh my
Man,
god.
I
Oh, I've
saw a
heard.
TikTok and I was like, oh my.
Gosh.
yeah, she can like actually sing. Like she's insane. Oh my God. But
You
I
both are.
like it was really funny. I remember reading the script and seeing like Steven's in the shower and while Jeremiah brushes his teeth. And I was like, okay, I'm probably not even gonna be there. Like, whatever. They'll probably like do something. And then Jenny texts me and she's like, "Hey, what songs do you want to sing for this scene?" I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "What?" And so I at the time I guess I was listening to Matt Maltese because it was very popular on TikTok, that song. And I was like, screw it. I'm gonna sing it. And because in my head I was like, there's no wrong. If it comes out bad, then it's Steven messing around in the shower. Like
Yeah,
there was no
yeah.
wrong way to do it. And I felt very lucky and she cleared it for me. And I'll never forget the best compliment I ever got about that was our director at the time, Jesse Peretz. He was a member of Lemonheads, a really like a big band in like the '90s.
Okay.
And we finished doing that scene, and he was like, "You got a nice voice." I was like, Jesse.
Oh, I love that so much. That's amazing.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of like fun scenes too. What would you say like your favorite scene that you filmed?
Um, I will say man, this show was so much fun. It just felt like we were playing around most of the time. We played volleyball in a pool or chicken or play volleyball in real life, and then like dance. It was a dream come true. First one that comes to my head is probably the escort dance with Gavin
Oh,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end. There was a moment where their cameras weren't on us, and Gavin asked the background if uh, it could be just me and him doing the dance, and they very nicely agreed. And so the cameras were on them, like all Lola and Chris's reactions are so genuine because it was just me and Gavin like messing around basically on this stage. And, yeah.
yeah. I love to hear just about the camaraderie that you guys had on set. 'Cause, I mean, I think it's no secret to like fans because we've seen all the behind the scenes that like Jenny posts and that you guys post and stuff, and it's clear that you guys became really close on that set, and I feel like that really translates onto the screen as well.
Yeah, I mean, I call these people like my best friends, like, and I'm very thankful we get to go back and shoot a season two and, get
Yeah.
to
Yes.
be with them again. I mean, yeah, I think people have told us that it's very rare what we have, and I've never experienced anything else, so I can't speak to it, but I know that the feeling of what we have is special, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, it was an amazing show. I binged it in 8 hours. I was like working and watching it, and then like work stopped happening, and I was just like, the show's got me. And then bawled in episode 7, and I was like, this can't be the end. I can't do it.
Well, it's not
It
the
was too
end.
short. It was too short. I needed more. Exactly.
Yeah,
Season
you
2.
guys will get more, don't worry about it. It might take a little while.
We'll wait patiently. It's
Yeah.
okay. I'll just keep rewatching the first season. I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time now, but I think just to end on a fun, lighthearted note, we could have Mel sort of do a few rapid fire trivia questions that we like to ask all of our guests. Just some fun stuff about yourself. So, Mel, why don't
I'm
you
down.
get off?
I'll do the outro. Okay. So we already talked about music and you singing. But if you had to pick a song to play every single time you enter a room as sort of your walk-in song, what song would it be and why?
Oh man. Oh, this is supposed to be rapid fire? This is the deepest question I've got. This is crazy. Um. Oh my God. Let me. Uh.
Open up the Spotify. Open up.
Yeah. Let me go to my Steven playlist. Let me see.
Oh.
I'm gonna go. Boredom by Tyler the Creator featuring Rex Orange County.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Solid
Nice.
choice, solid choice.
I love that
Okay.
you have a Steven playlist as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another question we have for you is what is your favorite quote, whether it's from a TV show, a movie, or a book?
Hmm. Um. Let me go to my notes app. I,
The
this answer
sacred
will like
concept.
absolutely. This answer will change like every week because you
Yeah.
find a quote and it's just like
Hmm.
um I'll go with this one for right now because it's the one that I really like right now. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? I like
I
that.
love that.
Oh, okay. Mic
Wow.
drop. That's a mic drop statement.
Okay, and the last question we have for you, which is always a little fun question to get to know the guests better. Do you have a useless talent? And if so, can you show us?
Absolutely. God, I just like embarrassing myself, I think. Um, I do like a pretty bad Donald Duck impression, and
Oh
I'll
yeah,
totally do it, but
a
it's
hundred
it's pretty
percent.
bad. Uh,
Please. That's pretty spot on. I love
I'm
it.
here for this. I'm here for this. Donald Duck. I'm here for it.
I'm
All
working
right.
on
Well,
it. I'm working on it.
all right. So next time we'll expect like a sentence instead of just
Oh
like
yeah,
a
like actual words.
I got
Yes,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I got you. We'll hold you on to that for next time.
Thank you.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm sure everyone probably loved just hearing your insight on Stephen, but also just your perspective of the show and just your life as well. It was just amazing to get to talk to you.